My guest today is Tyler Sloan. Tyler is a product manager at Ankr, a Web3 infrastructure company building all the tooling necessary to build all things Web3. Welcome to the show, Tyler.
Thank you, Andy. Really happy to be here, and thanks for having me.
It is a pleasure. Happy to have you here, Tyler. Let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. It would be super cool if you could, please introduce yourself. Love to hear some of your personal and professional backstory. What have you been doing in the lead up to becoming, product guy at Ankr?
Yeah, for sure. So I originally started professionally in academia, actually. So doing my doctorate in biological sciences and researching physiology, but figured out that teaching really wasn't for me. Loved the research aspect. So I decided to kind of take the leap into tech and business, which was my other passion, which my family thought I was insane for the time, especially being the first one to go to college on both sides. But kind of used that academic background to work at St. John's University in their business department, doing research on new tech and applications to business management. So a little bit of transition there. But it was during this time, and I'm from the Boston area originally, and moved up there to Cambridge and dove into the emerging tech scene. So I got real big into AR, VR, and this is 2017. So blockchain Web3 during the hype cycle as well. So like many others, fell down the white paper rabbit hole that we all have at one point or another, and saw the energy in the communities and the people that were building. So started to get involved in those, and actually co-founded a blockchain startup in the real estate data space during that time. So I don't know if you've heard of Carfax. It's like the life history of a car from start to finish. So similar concept a little bit, but for residential and commercial properties. So you think of like photos, floor plans, 3D models, the vendors that worked on the house. But the real underlying issue being data custody and bringing it back to the folks that actually own the property. And in the US, that data is very disparate and gatekept by different MLS organizations, et cetera. So creating a common standard that brings ownership back and also, enables control for who accesses it and monetarily can use it for that. So it's a really cool concept and a great intro into not only startups, but also the Web3 world. Since then, I've been involved in a number of other Web3 and financial tech companies. Most recently, before joining Ankr, was a decentralized infrastructure company, which led in perfectly to my role with Ankr, and now overseeing the roll-up as a service and other scaling products with them.
Very well explained. Thank you, Tyler. I suppose it'd be good at this point then just to learn a little bit more about Ankr itself. And of course, being crypto, Ankr is spelled Ankr. Just shout out the website while we're here. So ankr.com, Ankr.com. Simple as that. But Tyler, give us the kind of high level vision. It's obviously Web3 infrastructure, but what's the vision of Ankr? What are you guys trying to do and build?
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate the website and spelling shout out. Very helpful. But being a Web3 and infrastructure company and really development tools as well, that's been around since 2017. So, not a newcomer to the space. We do have a world-class DeepN, so decentralized physical infrastructure network, that's in over 30 global regions with bare metal nodes to power these blockchains and apps that we work with. We have a number of products like our Web3 API that connects developers to over 55 blockchains. So we're most well known, I would say, in the space for these RPCs, remote procedure call connections for applications to a number of blockchains. But we do have some really other exciting, innovating ones like staking and what I'm heading up on the scaling services side with wraps. But overall, our goal in this space is to really make Web3 as accessible to everyone and to simplify the complex technologies. So, whether you're a veteran dev with 10 years of experience, a Web2 enterprise trying to dip your toes in, or a solo entrepreneur with a great idea. We want to empower anyone to leverage the tech and be able to scale their project simply.
All right. Well, look, just before we get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty in terms of, why developers should come and build with, like Ankr tooling and so on, be great, Tyler, to kind of get your vision or Ankr's vision of Web3 at the moment. Where are we at in terms of, I suppose, that kind of build out of Web3 in terms of infrastructure? Where are we at in terms of that, adoption cycle? Where are we kind of at the bottom of a hype cycle, waiting for another one to come? What's the kind of vibe on the ground and within the teams that you interact with? I know it's kind of like a big existential question, but it's just good to kind of get different people's understanding of what Web3 is and how long along that path we are.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say, this is my personal opinion, of course, for this. But, I'm especially this week alone and going into Q4. And I guess I'll start meta. I think we're at the very early stages of Web3 overall, and this will become very more commonplace where we're not even talking about the technology, we're just using it. And that's a big goal for everyone. But I think, I'm bullish for and the building and teams that I talk to as well are excited. I work a lot with development teams and, from the infrastructure to the protocol layer, et cetera. And that hasn't stopped over the number of years. It's just the interest at the token and financing level that I see more fluctuation. But I see a ramp up for this quarter and into 2025. For both on Ethereum and Bitcoin as well, which I'm very interested in.
Yep, makes sense. I think, I think that's a growing sentiment at the moment that perhaps it's been a long and punishing year, really, and perhaps Q1 next year we'll begin to see a little bit more activity, some fireworks even would be nice. We'll just have to see how it plays out. Get back to Ankr, Tyler. So, you talked about was it like a kind of like a modular roll-up that I guess you have been working on, or you lead a team that works on this? I saw you talking about this, maybe it was on LinkedIn or somewhere, like you calling it the no-code deployer application. So maybe just, look, feel free to get technical. Just talk us through what this is that you've been working on and why it is, potentially of help to different teams, different developers, what they can do with it.
For sure. So those that may be unfamiliar with the term roll-ups at a high level, I'd start there. And what we offer as roll-up as a service, or RaaS as some say, is really comes down to a scaling solution for teams and projects that compiles or rolls up a bunch of transactions off-chain and then turns them into a single piece of data, which then can be broadcasted to the layer one or main network. We can say Ethereum, for example. So the follow-up question to that is, of course, okay, well, why would I need this? Or why wouldn't I just build directly on Ethereum with tools that exist? And there's a number of benefits to having your own rollup, or more simply, just your own chain. And that would be reducing the cost of transactions for it, and also increasing the speed of those transactions while still maintaining the security of your network, since it relies on the main one. So we'll say Ethereum. So you're still gaining the benefits of that network security. And the speed aspect is really important for a number of teams that we talk to and help, especially where they get to the point of hitting scale and need their own chain to have more control. So that comes down to user experience of the apps. So you think of gaming or DeFi, and that's really a game changer for those that are having their own roll-up to utilize and have other teams also build on top of. So not only getting more control over the chain and user experience, but also of the economics, I would say. So those transaction fees or sequencer fees, you get the benefits, reap the rewards of that, and sequencer, I would say that is just the ordering of transactions for a blockchain for those that are unfamiliar as well. So not only end user, but also financial gains. And you did mention the no code deployer, which we were very excited to launch a few months ago. So thinking of if you're coming to us and you don't have the technical resources or background, you're able to utilize this tool that we have on our website, not live now, and customize, and with just a few clicks, launch your own chain with its token in literally 15 minutes. This can be a test net or a main net, not needing to talk to anyone to get you from 0 to 1 really quickly. So this involves teams of any experience coming in can focus on their business logic and their core and leave the infrastructure, managing it, upgrading it, and scaling it for you.
Very nice. I'm always fascinated by like product people, Tyler. I don't know how long you've been a product guy, even if you describe yourself as a product guy, but you know, some of the product people I've worked with in the past have been, you know, 100% product focused, and it's fascinating watching, you know, the different ways that I guess, you know, product managers lead or, you know, drive a different product through that kind of, you know, build and deployment cycle. So just any kind of thoughts on how you approach what you do and your kind of philosophies when it comes to, yeah, like building products, digital products even, and deploying them, blockchain products even.
Yeah, I think why I got into it and what I enjoy is working with passionate teams on exciting products and ventures and getting that in. So that was number one of having you know, laying the vision out for the team and following up and delivering and iterating based on what the customer's needs and the feedback that you're getting. You know, formerly being a scientist, really getting to continually use that scientific method of experimenting and improving our processes and seeing what the market needs is very fulfilling from my perspective, especially in the super quick moving Web3 space, always changing. And if you're somebody that is a forever learner or grasps for knowledge, there's, you know, this is the space for you to get into. You can spend all day and the rest of your life, you know, learning about it.
Yep, I have no doubt that that is the case. Speaking of products, I mean, do you want to just use this opportunity also to talk through any other kind of core product offerings or solutions that are available via Ankr? What else are you guys providing at the moment? What are kind of the core offerings?
Yeah, so outside of the roll up as a service and the no code deployer, actually, we've been seeing, so, which focuses mainly on Ethereum based projects, but we've been seeing a growing amount of interest in the Bitcoin building space here at Ankr, but really a lack of the scalable infrastructure and the tools to support the demand and really help teams out. So we're really actually excited to announce that I think will be available by the time this airs, the launch of next gen Bitcoin L2s. So this will be a service where we're creating Bitcoin L2s for teams. You know, there's been some great projects that have emerged over the last year or so, and we've seen increasing TVL for a number of them as well. So the demand is there and the use cases. So we're combining our blockchain infrastructure expertise at Ankr with Babylon, if you may have heard of them, and particularly their Bitcoin staking protocol, to create these secure, decentralized, and scalable Bitcoin L2 networks. And I can touch a little bit on what that really means if you'd like.
Yeah, well, I'll get you to do that, Tyler. What's interesting about it is, though, you know, I'm sure you're very aware that just simply because, you know, whatever it is, simply because Bitcoin is, you know, the best known cryptocurrency, maybe it's the biggest by market cap, it's getting the most attention thanks to the ETF, it's one of the best performing assets this year, all of those things, but it's best known by brand. So there's a lot of interest on Bitcoin, and that has led to, yeah, I guess like an explosion of different projects looking at Bitcoin layer twos and all sorts of trying to add all sorts of functionality and programmability potentially to the Bitcoin ecosystem, which on one hand you'd have to say is great because it's great for people to build out their Bitcoin ecosystem. But I suspect there's also some narrative chasers in there that are just kind of looking for, the next hot thing, and they kind of see, Bitcoin tokens or Bitcoin layer twos as just a way to kind of piggyback on that. So it's kind of a mix of both. But yeah, love to get your thoughts on how you guys are approaching this, what you see happening.
Yeah. So for the ones that we're launching with Babylon, and it really connects with BTC through their staking protocol. So they had their phase 1 mainnet launch, I believe, last month or so, and hit their initial, I think it was 1,000 BTC TVL cap on launch day. So very successful launch. But what it really enables is for Bitcoin holders to stake or lock their BTC in a self-custodial way. So not a bridge, not giving away access, etc., as a way to gain rights to validate proof of stake chains and then earn a yield in return. So some benefits of, okay, why a chain may be interested. I'm a proof of stake chain. Why does that help me out? So on our end at Ankr, we're making it very easy to create these and highly customize them. But really, you're able to bootstrap network security as a proof of stake chain, especially if you're new. But also, if you're an existing one, it's a way to enhance your economic security through BTC, which is previously, an idle asset. And that's advantageous if your community happens to be, BTC involved or, holders as a way to activate them and get them energized or excited about your project in a different way. Outside of that, from a technical side, it actually enhances the security and creates faster finality. So it comes back to that quick end user experience that chains need for those DeFi gaming use cases. And this is possible by their shared security model. So kind of similar what EigenLayer's done for Ethereum. I would equate it, at a high level, what Babylon's doing with Bitcoin, which is really exciting. Also enabling flexible VM environments. So whether you're EVM or WASM, we're able to build and create those chains very quickly for teams.
Yeah, it makes sense, Tyler, and you're exactly right. I think the key point there is, there's just a lot of people hunting around, and they're hungry for a way to potentially earn some yield on their Bitcoin, but they want to do that in a way that is, as safe and risk-free as possible.
Self-custodial for sure.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of narratives, you mentioned Deepin, so just talk us through the Deepin side of things from Ankr's perspective.
Yeah, I think Ankr's been in the infra space for quite a long time, as some may know, but we have world-class provider for the reason of that Deepin network, the global location of the nodes that we're able to connect folks to, apps to, and data source, and it being all bare metal, which is a differentiator from a lot of other, and the load balancers, I would say, that we have is very, very impressive. One of the things when I joined the team to find out just how quick we are for your locations, no matter where you are around the world, and a lot of that based on the IP around those load balancers to support it, and why Deepin or building on decentralized infrastructure matters. And it comes back to, not having that central point of failure that we've seen with many outages, et cetera, that happened over the past year to 2 years, of where one thing, a junior software engineer uploads one snippet of code and 70% of the internet goes down because of a single point of failure, which is something that us as a Web3 industry are looking to, go well beyond, starting with the infrastructure.
Yes, indeed. And, if we kind of keep going on narratives, Tyler, AI is the other big narrative at the moment. I'm not sure if we kind of covered this, but I see, you've got something called Neura, which is, yeah, designed to be like, yeah, on-chain AI models, I guess. And as this previously discussed, secured, I think, yeah, with Bitcoin via that Babylon, with staked Bitcoin via the Babylon protocol that we were talking about before. But yeah, just so Neura, the blockchain built for AI. So what's the big idea here?
Yeah, so I'm happy you brought that up as well, as Neura is actually the first use case for these BTC L2s
Yeah, right.
that we're building and launching. So on one side we have the GPUs available for companies and teams that will evolve into a GPU marketplace, and also what you mentioned there for the IMO. So initial model offerings, we're creating a launch pad. So that being a way to crowdsource funding from people. And so say you are an owner of a model, a builder of a model, or, a team that's looking to gain more capital. It's a way to create fractionalized ownership for that and create revenue sharing amongst those investors of your model, all via smart contracts. So something that's really innovative and exciting as we're seeing the building continue. And also the convergence of blockchain and AI is very, very cool to follow.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think of, really. Yeah, initial model offering. Yeah, that's crazy. Here we are, 6 or 7 years on from the great ICO experiment of 2017, which is, initial coin offering. And look, I mean, they were just literally just white papers, most of them. And here we are now talking about initial model offerings, literally advanced AI models that, who knows, could solve cancer or take over the world or be the end of humanity. Who knows? But hey, at least we can all get a part of it, right, Tyler?
Yeah, it's an interesting concept for not only the space of the moving the model, but there's a lot of amazing projects that are, say, mid-tier, maybe not backed by Anthropic, etc., that don't have the funds easily available, but may have the great next use case. And this is a great opportunity to not only potentially get the funds, but have a community around it and support it and advance it.
Yeah, well, look, I think that's right, actually. And if there's one thing we don't want to happen, we don't want just OpenAI or whoever it is just to kind of run away with it and effectively take over the world and be a monopolistic, authoritarian controller of the one
Yeah.
single powerful AI. That's what we don't want to happen. So, the more we can kind of open source or crowdfund, yeah, kind of different alternatives as well, probably be better in the long run.
Couldn't agree more.
All right. Well, look, Tyler, let's start to finish off this part of the podcast. Just, again, make the case for, who really your Ankr is for. Obviously, it's for developers. It's for, kind of tech projects. Who else is it for? Just make the case for why these different client target market segments, whatever you call them, should come and check out the different products and solutions that you guys are providing so they can, build out what they want to see in the wonderful world of Web3. And of course, what should they do? Where should they go?
Yeah, of course. So, whether you're a DApp or, an existing project that's looking to scale, me specifically working on the RAS or the Bitcoin L2 side, that's a way for us to get you up and running quickly. But more generally, it can be a Web2 enterprise, a solo dev, etc. We are the home of scaling it and creating almost any project that you would want. At Ankr, we're working to build that decentralized, rewarding digital world for all. And you can find us at ankr.com, as you mentioned, ANKR. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. ankr.com. Link is in the show notes as well, of course, listeners. All right. Well, Tyler, it is time to finish off the podcast. And we do that, of course, by running you through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. Are you up for it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, Tyler. I'm just going to run some questions at you. Just want you to give me your honest hot take style response. Question 1 for you is, where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
I would say Bitcoin for everyday currency maxi, but I'm definitely multi-chain and interoperability for building and scaling other real-world use cases. So got to hold it down for my chain builders.
Yeah. All right. Hey, that's diplomatic, and look, it makes sense as well. So that's all good. That's all good, Tyler. Next question for you is, what would you say is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say we'll go near term. I'd say 2025 will be the year of Bitcoin utility outside of just a token and currency that enhances the overall Bitcoin ecosystem. So for good, and really further empowers Web3 builders in ways we haven't seen it in previous years.
I like it. All right. Bill Gates famously said, Tyler, that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. You'd be very familiar with that kind of thinking as a product guy. So look, 10 years is a long time. Let's say, Web3, 10 years time, what does it look like?
Yeah, I would say even just being involved in Ankr and having our company vision of, in that time, not only being the leading infrastructure provider, but also having the most innovative projects to help usher in the next wave of Web2 or any builders in the space. So I think within that time, it'll be a process of spinning up a project as simple as the Squarespace site is now. And kind of what I said earlier, it'll be not us talking about the technology at that point and the nuances. It'll be us just using it in everyday life and taking ownership back for ourselves in the digital world.
No doubt. That is very well said. Thank you, Tyler. I enjoyed that. Another quote that I enjoy comes from science fiction author William Gibson, who famously said that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. Now, with that in mind, Tyler, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Yeah, I would say something that's common to us or those listeners would perhaps be just decentralized finance in general. I think, with global transactions in an instant, merging investment vehicles and lending, the avoidance of, controlling mediaries, for the masses is something that happens now. And a lot of us in this field do take advantage of and enjoy the innovation and push it forward. But for the masses, I don't think the UX is there and the adoption, and us as an industry, it's on us to get there, to make it part of everyday life.
Yeah, very well said. All right. Time to start to finish this off, Tyler. And we do that by asking you the final question, which is, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
I do like sci-fi. So one book that I really enjoyed, and I did mention I was an AR VR nerd, was Ready Player One, which did turn into a movie that I thought was pretty decent as well. But a fun way to shed light on kind of like human interaction with immersive technology, and falls within the Web3 ethos a bit as well. The pitfalls of, the controlling hands of the centralized power, the improper use of the tech to control. So falls a bit within both categories. But yeah, it's a good book.
Oh, great selection. It's a good book, and it's a fantastic film, actually, Ready Player One. So really fun watch. Kind of, I guess the, metaverse hype kind of came and went. And like all of these things, the hype around metaverse, which was probably just, 10 or so years early, just a little bit ahead of where the technology is. It's just the way that these things work, unfortunately. But, Ready Player One, certainly a great film. And kind of talking of that, VR, AR, I guess tech cycle, kind of going through Yeah, similar cycle in that, we've got those, the Apple VR headset and there's the Meta one, but still not a huge amount of consumer uptake. But you probably know more about this than most people. Where are we kind of at in terms of, the AR and the VR thing at the moment, Tyler? But just be interested.
Yeah, you kind of touched on, I think, the hardware and the everyday use, really put a damper on things for, how much hype was around projects like Magic Leap, etc. And what then turns into B2B products, what we've seen in the past as well with many emerging technologies, etc. So I think we'll still see everyday AR, especially in the new phones, use cases, et cetera, that come out of that. So I think a lot of adoption, even going back to Pokemon Go being, as big as it was in an early case, I think we'll see more of it as the hardware and the wearables advance, whether it's within cars or glasses, et cetera, is to be determined. But yeah, I haven't give up on the space as a whole.
You raise a great point, Tyler, and I've thought about this before. I'm sure many people have that Pokemon Go game. Correct me if I'm wrong. That feels like it was around 2016, something like that.
Yeah, I would say that's right.
So that is 8 years ago, really. You'd think, phones are better than they were 8 years ago, but there hasn't been another kind of hit like that. Are there games like that that are even better and just kind of haven't captured the global zeitgeist, or where are we kind of at with that?
Yeah, I don't think that there's definitely hasn't been one nearly as close. I think Niantic continued with other games like Harry Potter, etc. That gets a lot of usage, but nothing. I've seen more like general use of like furniture or redesign or things of everyday life that may not be as sexy as something as gaming, but is honestly
Snapchat
pretty
lenses.
useful. Yeah. So things that might not be, the sexiest of use cases, but does get involved on that. So yeah, still waiting if we have another boom with a game.
Yeah, it'll happen. You cannot predict these things. All right. Here's a fun way to finish off the show, Tyler. Just to close it out, please share your Twitter, X handle, or wherever else you like to hang out online. And again, direct people again towards the Ankr website. What should they do? Where should they go?
Yeah, for sure. You can reach out to me directly, either LinkedIn. I'm pretty use that quite a bit. And then on Twitter, my handle is @Sloan_tech. Feel free to reach out there as well. And then on the Ankr website, if you're interested in RPC, scaling services, want to learn more about Bitcoin L2s, ankr.com, and you'll find everything there. Head over to our technical docs as well, has a plethora of information. But yeah, happy to connect.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tyler. All the best, and bye for now.
Bye, Andy. Thank you. Appreciate you having me.